I stared at the paper in David's shaking hands, my throat closing up like someone was choking me. 9.9% excluded as biological father. "This can't be right," I whispered, but even as the words left my mouth, I knew they were a lie, the same lie I'd been telling myself for 18 years. David's eyes met mine across our kitchen table. "Sarah, tell me this is wrong." I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. Emma sat between us, her Stanford acceptance letter forgotten, watching her world collapse in real time. "Mom?" Emma's voice was so small. "What's happening?" David stood up so fast his chair crashed backward. "What's happening is that your mother has been lying to us for 18 years. David, please, don't." His voice was ice cold. "Don't you dare try to explain this away." My mind raced back to that conference in Chicago, the fight David and I had before I left, how sure I was that our marriage was over. Marcus Rivera from college, buying me drinks at the hotel bar, listening to me cry about my failing marriage. One night, one stupid, desperate night that I buried so deep I almost convinced myself it never happened. "I thought we were getting divorced," I said, the words tumbling out. "You said you wanted me gone, David. You said—" "So you ran to another man?" His face was twisted with disgust. "And then you came home and let me believe Emma was mine?" Emma's sharp intake of breath cut through me like glass. "Dad, what are you saying?" David looked at her, and I saw something die in his eyes. "I'm saying I'm not your father, Emma. I never was." The silence that followed felt like the end of the world. I woke up to emptiness. David's side of the bed was cold, his pillow still dented but lifeless. I stumbled to his closet, empty hangers swayed like accusations. The kitchen counter held his wedding ring and a note. "I can't look at either of ye." Now without seeing the lie. "Don't contact me." My hands trembled as I dialed his office. "Jennifer, it's Sarah. Where is he?" "Mrs. Chen, I'm sorry, but Mr. Chen requested an immediate transfer to Seattle. He left on the first flight this morning." "Seattle? Jennifer, we've been married 20 years. I'm sorry, I have to go." The line went dead. 20 years of marriage, and he'd erased us like we were nothing. "Mom?" Emma appeared in the doorway, still in her pajamas. "Where's Dad? His car's gone." I held up the note with shaking hands. "He's gone, sweetheart." Emma read it, her face going pale. "Gone? What do you mean, gone?" "He left us, Emma, because of the DNA test, because of what I did 18 years ago." "What you did?" Emma's voice cracked. "Mom, what did you do?" I pulled her into my arms, feeling her whole body tremble. "I made a mistake. One terrible mistake, and now Dad doesn't want me anymore." The words came out flat, emotionless, which somehow made them worse. "Emma, no. He loved you for 18 years. That was real." "Was it?" She pulled away from me, tears streaming down her face. "Because it sure doesn't feel real right now. It feels like everything I believed about my life was a lie." I tried to reach for her again, but she stepped back. "He taught me to ride a bike, Mom. He came to every soccer game. He helped me with my college applications." Her voice broke completely. "And now he's just gone? Because some test says we don't share DNA?" "He's hurt, Emma. He needs time." "No, Mom, he made his choice, and he chose to abandon me." The kitchen felt like a tomb, filled with the ghosts of family breakfasts and homework help and 18 years of love that apparently meant nothing. The phone rang at 7 a.m. My sister Linda's voice was sharp with judgment. "Sarah, what the hell did you do? David called Tom. The whole family knows." I closed my eyes. "Linda, I can explain." "Explain what? That you've been lying for 18 years? That Emma isn't David's daughter?" Before I could answer, she hung up. Within an hour, David's mother called. "Margaret, please." "How could you do this to us, Sarah?" She was sobbing. "Emma was my granddaughter. How do I just stop loving her?" "You don't have to stop." "Don't I? David says she's not family. What am I supposed to do with that?" The calls kept coming. David's brother, his college friends, our neighbors. Each conversation was a fresh wound, but nothing prepared me for finding Emma in her room that evening, surrounded by photo albums. "Look at this, Mom." She held up a picture from her 8th birthday party. David had his arms around her, both of them grinning at the camera. "Look how happy he looks." Was any of it real? My heart shattered. "Emma, of course it was real. He loved you." "Did he?" Because Jessica's mom called Jessica and told her she can't hang out with me anymore. Apparently, I'm a bad influence now. Emma's laugh was bitter. Funny how fast people turn on you when they find out your whole life is a lie. Your life isn't a lie, isn't it? She flipped through more photos. Here's Dad teaching me to drive. Here's him at my graduation. Here's him proud as anything when I got into Stanford. She looked up at me, tears streaming. And now his lawyer called and said the college fund is frozen. 18 years of saving for my education, and apparently it was all conditional on me being his real daughter. The cruelty of it hit me like a physical blow. "Emma, we'll figure out the college fund." "How, Mom? How are we going to figure out anything? Dad made it clear that everything he ever did for me was because he thought I was his blood. Well, guess what? I'm not, so now I'm nothing to him." She closed the photo album with a snap. "I need to know who my real father is, Mom, because the one I thought was mine just threw me away like garbage." Finding Marcus Rivera's number felt like opening Pandora's box. I stared at my phone for an hour before dialing. "Hello?" His voice was exactly as I remembered, warm, deep, with that slight accent that used to make my heart skip. "Marcus, it's Sarah Chen, Sarah Williams, from college." Silence. Then, "Sarah? My God, I never thought I'd hear from you again. How are you?" "I need to see you. It's important." We met at a coffee shop downtown. Marcus looked good, silver threading through his dark hair, laugh lines around his eyes. He wore a wedding ring. "You look well," I said, sitting across from him. "You too, though you seem troubled. What's going on, Sarah?" I took a shaky breath. "Do you remember that night in Chicago, 18 years ago, the business conference?" His expression grew serious. "Of course I remember. You were crying about David, said your marriage was over." "It wasn't over. We worked things out when I got home." "That's good. I'm glad you two—" "Marcus, I was pregnant. From that night. With you." His coffee cup froze halfway to his lips. "What?" "I have a daughter, Emma. She's 18, and she's yours." Marcus set down his cup with trembling hands. "Mine? Are you sure?" "DNA test confirmed it. David left us when he found out. He's not handling it well." "Jesus, Sarah, all this time I had a daughter and never knew?" I nodded, watching emotions play across his face. Shock, regret, wonder. "Tell me about her," he said quietly. "She's brilliant, valedictorian, got into Stanford. She's kind, funny, strong." My voice broke. "And she's heartbroken because the man who raised her abandoned her the moment he found out she wasn't his biological daughter." Marcus was quiet for a long moment, then, "I want to meet her, Sarah. I want to be her father, if she'll let me." "Marcus, you're married. You have your own life." "I have a daughter," he said firmly. "Nothing is more important than that. I've missed 18 years. I won't miss another day. Emma, we need to talk." She looked up from her breakfast, wariness in her eyes. "More bad news?" "Your biological father. I need to tell you about him." I told her everything, the fight with David, the conference, Marcus. Emma listened without interruption, her face cycling through emotions I couldn't read. "So let me get this straight," she said when I finished. "I have a biological father who wants to meet me and an adoptive father who wants nothing to do with me." The matter-of-fact way she said it broke my heart. "Emma, does it, Mom? Because from where I'm sitting, Dad's love came with terms and conditions I never knew about." Marcus came for dinner the following week. He brought flowers for me and a vintage copy of Pride and Prejudice for Emma. "Your mom says it's your favorite," he said, offering the book. Emma took it carefully. "It is, thank you." I watched them through dinner, looking for resemblances I'd never allowed myself to see. They had the same way of tilting their heads when thinking, the same thoughtful pauses before speaking. "This must be weird for you," Marcus said as we finished dessert. "A little," Emma admitted, "but not bad weird, just different. I don't expect anything from you, Emma. I just want you to know you have a father who's proud of you, who wants to support your dreams." Emma was quiet, then, "Can I ask you something?" "Anything." "If you'd known about me from the beginning, would you have left?" Marcus's answer was immediate. "Never. Not even if your mother had asked me to." The contrast with David's abandonment hung in the air. Later that night, Emma knocked on my bedroom door. "I want to get to know him, Mom." "Are you sure?" "He didn't run when he found out about me. Dad did. That tells me everything I need to know about who really deserves to be called my father." She paused in the doorway. "Marcus wants to pay for Stanford. All of it. He says 18 years of child support is the least he can do. Emma, I'm going to let him, Mom. Not because I need his money, but because I want to see what it feels like to have a father who doesn't put conditions on his love." Tom's call came at midnight, 3 months after David left. "Sarah, I'm sorry to bother you, but it's David. He's not doing well." I sat up in bed. "What do you mean?" "He's working 18-hour days, staying at the office until midnight. His boss called me. David's been having angry outbursts, alienating everyone, and he's drinking, Sarah. A lot." My chest tightened. "How bad?" "Bad. He calls me at 3 a.m., drunk, rambling about wasted years and lies. He won't talk to Mom, won't see friends. It's like he's trying to erase his entire past." Part of me felt vindicated. After what he'd done to Emma, seeing David suffer felt like justice. But the larger part, the part that had loved him for 20 years, just felt sad. "There's more," Tom continued. "He's dating someone. A 25-year-old from his office named Rebecca." "He's what?" "Jennifer called me in tears yesterday. Sarah, he told this girl, he was never married, never had kids. He's pretending you and Emma never existed." The betrayal hit me fresh and deep. Walking away was one thing, but denying Emma's existence entirely? "Mom?" Emma appeared in my doorway. "Who's on the phone?" I covered the receiver. "Uncle Tom, about your dad." Emma's face hardened. "What about him?" After I hung up, I told Emma everything. She listened with that stoic maturity she'd developed since David left. "So I'm not just not his daughter anymore," she said quietly. "I never existed at all." Before I could respond, my phone rang again. Tom's voice was shaking. "Sarah, David's been arrested, DUI. He's in jail in Seattle." "What?" "He hit a parked car. Nobody was hurt, thank God, but his blood alcohol was twice the legal limit. Sarah, he listed you as his emergency contact." I stared at the phone. "He what?" "Even after everything, you're still the person he thinks of when he needs help. Will you come?" Emma was watching me, and I saw something in her eyes I hadn't seen since before the DNA test, concern for the man who had raised her. "I have to go," I said to Emma. "We have to go," she corrected. He was my dad for 18 years, Mom. I can't just pretend that doesn't matter." As we drove towards Seattle, I wondered if we were making a terrible mistake. David had abandoned us in our darkest hour, but could we abandon him in his? The Seattle jail was exactly as depressing as I'd imagined. When they brought David out, I barely recognized him. His hair was unkempt, his clothes wrinkled, his eyes hollow. "You came," he said, sitting heavily across from me. "I can't believe you came." Tom called. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then David's face crumpled. "I'm sorry, Sarah. God, I'm so sorry for everything." "Are you sorry for leaving, or sorry you got caught drinking and driving?" He flinched. "Both. All of it. I've been thinking about Emma every day since I left. I dream about her soccer games, helping with homework. I wake up, and for a few seconds I forget, and then I remember, and it's like losing her all over again. She was never not yours, David. I leaned forward. DNA doesn't make someone a father. You made yourself her father every day for 18 years. You chose to love her, to raise her, to be there for her. That choice mattered more than any blood test. Tears ran down his face. How is she? Is she okay? She misses you. She doesn't understand how the man who taught her to drive could just disappear from her life. I destroyed everything good because I was too proud and hurt to see past my own pain. David, she's here. What? Emma's here, in the waiting room. She wanted to come. His eyes went wide. She came? After what I did to her? She still loves you, David. Despite everything, she still loves the man who raised her. Can I see her, please? I nodded and went to get Emma. She walked into the visiting room with her shoulders straight, but I could see her hands shaking. Dad, she said simply. David broke down completely. Emma, I'm so sorry. I failed you in the worst possible way. You did, she agreed, sitting down. But you also loved me for 18 years. That has to count for something, right? I never stopped loving you. Even when I left, even when I was angry, I never stopped. Then why did you leave? Because I was scared. Scared that you'd love your real father more than me. Scared that 18 years of being your dad didn't matter if we didn't share DNA. Those 18 years are all that matter, Dad. Blood doesn't make a family. Love does. 2 weeks later, a letter arrived. Emma found it when she got home from her bookstore job. It's from Dad, she said, holding the envelope like it might explode. Do you want me to read it first? No. Whatever he has to say, I need to hear it directly. I waited downstairs while Emma read in her room. 20 minutes later, she came down with tears streaming down her face and handed me the letter. David's handwriting was shaky, but clear. My dearest Emma, I know I have no right to call you that anymore, but you will always be my dearest daughter, no matter what any DNA test says. I failed you in the worst possible way. When I learned you weren't biologically mine, I let my hurt and pride convince me that our 18 years together meant nothing. I was wrong. You are my daughter in every way that matters. I taught you to ride a bike, scared away boys who weren't good enough for you, cried when you graduated valedictorian. Those memories don't disappear because of genetics. I abandoned you when you needed me most, and I will regret that for the rest of my life. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, and I'm not asking for it. I just need you to know that loving you and raising you were the best 18 years of my life. You made me a father, Emma. You gave my life meaning and purpose, and nothing will ever change that. I hope someday you can remember the good times without the pain of how I ended things. I hope you'll let me be proud of you from a distance, because you are the most amazing young woman I know, and I love you more than any father has ever loved a daughter. Love always, Dad. P.S. Your college fund was never frozen. I lied because I was hurt. The money is yours. It was always yours. Emma looked up at me through her tears. He still loves me. He never stopped loving you, sweetheart. I want to see him again, Mom. I want to try to forget. Him. Emma's healing journey wasn't linear. She decided she wanted to see David during spring break, but on her terms. I'll drive you to Seattle, I offered. I need to do this myself, Mom. But will you come with me? For moral support? We met David at a small cafe. He looked better, cleaner, more put together, but there was still brokenness in his eyes. Emma, he breathed when she walked in, you look so grown up. I am grown up, she replied, not unkindly. I had to grow up fast when my dad abandoned me. They sat across from each other while I watched from a nearby table. Their conversation lasted 2 hours. I saw them both cry, both smile, both struggle with words too big for the moment. When Emma returned to me, her eyes were red but clearer than they'd been in months. He wants to pay for college, she said quietly. Says the money was always meant for me. And? I told him I'd think about it. I told him Marcus is my biological father, and I'm getting to know him, but that doesn't erase 18 years of David being my dad. What else did you tell him? That I don't know if I can trust him not to leave again, but I want to try to forgive him. Over the following months, David worked to rebuild their relationship. He entered counseling, stopped drinking, moved back to our city, taking a demotion to be closer to Emma. He didn't try to reclaim his primary role as her father. He understood Marcus was filling that space now. But slowly, carefully, he earned his way back into Emma's life. The three of them worked out an unusual but functional dynamic. Marcus walked Emma down the aisle at graduation. David cheered loudest when her name was called. Both men contributed to her college fund. "It's weird," Emma told me one day, "having two dads. But maybe weird isn't bad. Maybe I'm luckier than most kids." "How so?" "Most kids have one dad who might or might not stick around. I have one who proved he'll never leave, and one who learned that love is more important than pride." I watched my daughter navigate this complex situation with grace that humbled me. She had learned something I was still struggling with, that forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, and that love can coexist with hurt. "I'm proud of you," I told her. "I'm proud of us, Mom. We survived the worst thing that could happen to our family, and we came out stronger." A year later, I stood in Emma's Stanford dorm room, watching her unpack while chattering about her classes and her roommate. "Mom, stop folding my clothes. I can do it." "Let me have this," I said, smoothing out her favorite sweater. "It's the last time I get to take care of you like this." Marcus was assembling her desk with engineering precision, while David hung pictures on the wall, photos of Emma's graduation, her soccer team, family vacations from happier times. "You sure this is the right height?" David asked, holding up a frame. "Dad, it's fine," Emma laughed. "You've adjusted it 3 times. It was strange, this new configuration of our family, but it worked in ways I'd never imagined. "Mom," Emma said, pulling me aside while the men argued about textbook organization. "I want you to know something. What happened to us? Dad leaving, finding Marcus, and everything falling apart and coming back together. It changed me, made me stronger." She was right. The girl devastated by David's abandonment had grown into a young woman who understood that families could be complicated, love could be messy, and sometimes the worst things lead to the best discoveries. As we said our goodbyes, I realized my mistake 18 years ago had ultimately led to something beautiful. Emma now had 2 fathers who loved her unconditionally, and I'd learned that the strongest families aren't built on perfection. They're built on forgiveness, growth, and the willingness to love when it's hard. Driving home alone, I felt something I hadn't experienced in years: peace. The story that began with betrayal and abandonment had ended with redemption and hope. We weren't the perfect family I'd tried to maintain, but we were something better. We were real, honest, and unbreakably strong.